There you go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Captain Hook Podcast, Episode 3. Tonight we will be discussing Episode 2 of Season 7, Once Upon a Time, titled A Pirate's Life. This is the episode that most of us have been waiting anxiously to see. It is the last episode for Jennifer Morrison as Emma Swan. And according to events from last evening, it may also be the last episode at this point that we will see the incarnation of Killian Jones as we know him, our
Mm.
Captain Hook, unless future events change that. So this was kind of Emma's emotional swan song, as as it were. So again, I didn't get any questions, so I guess we'll go with random thoughts. We'll start with Daniela. What were your thoughts?
I liked it. It was an emotional roller coaster. I like this. I was happy to see her back with him, with Hook, see Hook and Emma together. But I was sad to say goodbye because I wasn't ready. I was like, God, I'm not ready to say goodbye to Captain Swan. No way. But I was happy with the whole twist. But the only twist that surprised me is this other Hook. I never thought I would see Wish from Hook back, and now thanks to Lady Suck My Life, Tremaine. He's now the clone Hook. So, and I'm very curious who his daughter is, who he had it with, and I'm very, and bravo to kill Colin O'Donoghue to play a lot of versions of Hook in one episode. That's like a record genius to playing some versions of one character he's played for the past 6 seasons.
Hmm. Okay, before we go on to every else's thoughts, I just wanted to detail here exactly what we've learned thus far. One, I know that a lot of people were assuming that the double of Hook that we were going to see was going to be Future Hook. That is incorrect. It is actually Wish Realm Hook. According to flashbacks, um, Wish Wish Realm Hook, after he had his encounter with Emma in the Wish Realm, stopped drinking for 2 years in order to find a way to free his daughter. Apparently, this version of Hook has a young daughter who is imprisoned by a witch, and he used to sneak into the castle where she was being held to play chess with her once each week until he was caught. When he was caught, the witch poisoned his heart, which would make it impossible for him to find her, and he's been trying to find her ever since. In his mind, he believes that if he can find true love and gain true love's kiss, it will break the curse on his heart and allow him to find his daughter. And in the confluence of events that occurred, when Henry sent a beacon asking Hook, Emma, and Regina for help when he was captured by Lady Tremaine, because he did not know that another version of Hook was also in that realm, that bottle also didn't just turn up, wasn't just given to our Hook, it was also given to the Wish Realm Hook. So when the Wish Realm Hook realized that Emma might in fact be there, he decided he wanted to get rid of our Hook to take his place, get Emma to fall in love with him since she was technically already in love with him anyway, get her true love's kiss to break the curse on his heart so that he could find his daughter. But he did not realize that Emma was pregnant. And when that information came to light, it changed his tune and softened his heart because he realized after having been separated from his own child for so long, he could not separate another father from 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 his child. So he decided to bring our Hook back. They got into a tussle. He stabbed himself with his own knife and almost died. Fortunately, Emma was there to save his life. And as a result of this, and realizing that he needed to change his tune, um, since Emma and Killian were going back home anyway, she asked Wishrealm Hook if he would stick around and team up with Henry, not only to make sure that Henry would stay safe, but also because she thought they could help each other out to find whatever it is that they're searching for. And along the way, Regina decided she would also stay as well because apparently, even though she has a nice, quiet life in Storybrooke, she doesn't seem to
Happy.
feel very fulfilled. I guess she doesn't have a significant other, and with Henry gone, she misses him a lot, and she just doesn't seem very happy. So now the three of them are there together. This is the information we have so far on the new Wish Realm Hook. So the Wish Realm, the Hook that we know as Officer, now Detective Rogers in Hyperion Heights, is in fact Wish Realm Hook. He was old and fat and dirty before, but he used Captain Hook's a bit of Captain Hook's blood plus Lady Tremaine's fairy wand, de-aged him 30 years and cleaned him up and made him look exactly like Hook.
Yeah.
And Killian Jones, I mean, this is no different. He is the Killian that we know, except where his life diverged, in which he did not meet Emma Swan. So the personality is still there. There's just some little ticks here and there that are different. Now, knowing that information, Pip, onto you. What are your thoughts?
Wow, I'm like, this Hook is different from the one we know. But he's from, because that glamour, I mean, that spell, that blood, using Hook's blood and Tremaine's little one. Now he's still a Hook, but he has something similar to him, but like he still has not the glamour, like the courage that our Hook does. And I'm very glad to I'm very interested to see what this new Hook is about, and who his daughter is, and how his story just unraveled to the moment. And as for Regina, I'm happy that she's with Henry, supporting him, having something else to do. I just don't like the whole Operation Mongoose Part 3 thing, because that's part starting to get annoying me, because I was hoping that the operation thing with Regina and Henry was gonna be Operation like new beginning. I don't know, but this Operation New Chapter sounds exactly like a third part of Operation Mongoose, and that still ticks me.
Pip, what are your general thoughts about episode 2?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it's one of the few times in Once Upon a Time history where I've been watching the show live where the episode went by way faster than I thought it would. Like, I looked up and it was 10 minutes left in the episode. I'm like, oh my God, it's almost over. And I was just, which everyone was like, oh my God, because Colin O'Donoghue had said, I don't want people to be spoiled. And then ABC was promoting the Captain Swan baby, which it was obvious they were going to have a baby. I was like, that's not what he's concerned about, being spoiled. So when they came out and said that Wish Realm Hook, who, when he showed up, I was speechless. I had, oh my God, his triumphant return. And played out. And then when he said that he had a daughter, I screamed. I was like, that's it. That was the twist that I know about. And the whole episode all around was great. The one thing, the downside was that the Wish Realm Hook interacting with our Hook and that whole thing, the whole flashback to when that was happening, did from the present day with Rogers and Weaver. So I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the whole stuff with Rogers and Weaver, because I don't think I took that in the way I would. And I'm going to have to rewatch it to kind of get the whole right feel for those scenes. But overall, perfect episode and a great the best happy ending possible for Captain Swan, in my opinion.
Okay. What did you think about the development between Jacinda and Henry and everything? I mean, everyone was going on and on about the Captain Swan stuff and Wish Realm Hook, but not a lot of people were talking about the B-side of the story. Go ahead, Ro.
Well, my thoughts, I really think I need a hug after that episode. But aside from that, looking at it objectively, I understand why the episode was a Rogers-centric and not a Killian-centric. We got because that's the character that Cullen plays now, and I understand that. So, of course, Captain Swan didn't get a lot of focus, but I feel like we got closure on Killian and Emma. I mean, they're off having their happy ending. And I know we have been very anti Wish Realm for some time back in the CS podcast days. But if this is what they needed to do to keep Colin on the show and not separate my OTP, I'm totally fine with it. I mean, this new Hook, I don't really have a lot to say about him at the moment. I'm still getting to know him, getting to understand him and his journey and why he's doing what he's doing. You know, I mean, what motivates him. Obviously, it's because of his daughter, but it's still a question about whether how real he and his daughter actually are, if they came from this Wish realm or if they came from another realm, or maybe this realm always existed and the Wish just opened Emma up to it or inserted her into it. Maybe, I don't know, but it was great seeing Colin get to play all these different versions of Hook. He was very, very good. And I should have picked up on it before with the sneak peeks when he was trying to talk to Henry, pretend to be the supportive stepfather, which Killian has always been, which Rogers isn't. I mean, I'm still going to have some trouble calling him Killian just yet. I'm not ready for that. But, you know, I mean, as far as happy endings go, this is probably the best they could have done with Jen's schedule. And, you know, I mean, it's better than not having her back at all, I would say. You know, and I maybe someday if they decide to end the show and if she's available, they could always bring her back and we get one more scene with her and Killian. But for now, I'm happy for Colin that he gets to continue on with the show, and I'm happy to see where this goes for, you know, the characters and this new version of Hook.
You know, that's actually kind of interesting that you mentioned Killian being a very intuitive father figure to Henry and always being there for him and always knowing what to say. Because the first scene where it takes place, where he's still, I'm going to assume in that scene was probably like they were playing, was being 16-ish. He knew exactly what to say to Emma because Emma wanted to go up and talk to him and get all up in his business. And I think as a mom, I know that if she had tried to do that, it probably would have pissed Henry off even more. He was at a point in his life where he's old enough that he wants to strike out on his own and find his own story. He couldn't really, Hook didn't really have that dynamic when they were in the little hut together and he brought that fake letter from her and he was saying, oh, you know, as soon as I told her about what happened to you, she wrote this letter for you on the spot. And obviously whatever was in it was pretty damning because Henry felt terribly hurt. He was like, oh, this whole mission's been a failure. And he didn't try to comfort him or anything. He was like, well, you did kind of feel like he really wasn't comforting. So you could tell that wasn't really our Killian, because Killian would have let that go. He would have tried to comfort him. And that it was funny to me is that this whole week leading up to it, when they came out with that sneak peek of Killian and Henry by the fire, and Henry was trying to get out of him what was going on with Emma and why she wasn't there, and he was like, she's this, you know, the savior, and she's ticklish, you know, and tall, she's okay, I guess. And everyone else was looking at this like, oh, he's just trying not to tell Henry that Emma's pregnant, he doesn't want to say anything yet. And then when she runs in and he sees her face, and he kind of looks like, oh my god, like they had this idea that it was Killian, but he just didn't want to say anything. Like he was upset at the fact that he had told her to rest, but she decided to come anyway. And I looked at that scene, and I knew with beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like, that's not Killian Jones. Are you fucking kidding me? That's not Killian Jones. If there was something going on with Emma, the first person that would tell Henry is Killian Jones, her husband. Okay, he's not going to keep something like that from him if it's dire. The only reason he kept, the reason that Emma didn't want to come was because Emma told him not to. Otherwise, he would have told Henry what was happening. And the expressions on his face and the way that he was talking to me is like he was trying to think, oh God, what do I say? I don't know Emma that well. I don't know what's going on. What do I say? I'm like, that's obviously not our Killian. I don't know how anybody could mistake that. There was obviously Wish Realm Hook trying to come up with something to say, but not knowing what to say. That's the only reason why. That's the only reason why I knew it'd be impossible for him to replace our Hook, because he doesn't have Hook's memories after meeting Emma, so he doesn't know the dynamics of their relationship, and he also doesn't know about Emma's ability to be able to tell when someone's lying. So she would pick up on it within about 5 fucking seconds. As soon as he opened his mouth, she would know that that wasn't her Killian.
Yeah. But when I watched the sneak peek,
another thing that surprised me was the fact that it was Regina who told him to go out and talk to him. I mean, this is the woman who never wanted to share Henry with anybody, and she's telling his stepfather, who she doesn't even like, to go out and give one of his piratey heart-to-hearts. So maybe they made some progress on that, but I don't think we're going to see any more of it since Killian is back home.
Regina doesn't like pep talks, which is funny because it's a complete opposite of what Ronnie did at the end of the first episode in the season. Here you have Regina telling Killian, go give him a pep talk. I don't want to do that. That's your thing. You're good at that.
And Regina doesn't. And Regina hates the Hope speech, and yet she was the one that gave the Hope speech at the end of the premiere.
I think that was a deliberate move on their part, saying Regina's not the Hope speech person. She's going to look at Killian and go, "You're good at this with him. Go do that." And I think that's a nice little moment. It's her recognizing that whatever Killian and Henry have,
I don't think
as much as she hates Killian, she knows that he's important too.
Well, I don't think that she hates him. That's a really strong word. I don't think that she dislikes him. I don't think she hates him. I think that, like any mom, she's protective. I mean, she was there the first 10 years of his life. So in her mind, she's always going to believe that she knows what's best for him. But she's also come to a point in her life. I mean, it's obviously been a couple years. I'm assuming, because this is before Lucy is born, I'm going to assume that this Henry that we meet in the flashback is probably 19 or 18. 20 years old. No, that's impossible, because when he left them, he was what, 17? 16? You don't age that much in 2 years. I'm sorry. He was probably like 20. And so, you know, it's been a couple years. She's obviously mellowed some. Storybrooke is at peace. She hasn't had to worry about all these issues. She doesn't have to feel like everyone is always looking at her as the evil queen. She's finally able to just be Regina. She's obviously become more comfortable in her own skin. The reason that she's decided to go with him is because she's lonely. She doesn't have Robin. Everybody else has their own lives. Snowing has their child. Now Emma's going to have a kid too. You know, they all have their own lives, and Regina's just kind of alone. So something's missing. Yeah, something's missing from her life, and maybe she feels that being with Henry might fill that void. I don't think she dislikes him. I think it's just part of her personality. She's always been that haughty, I'm better than you because I'm queen shtick. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she dislikes him. She's always been up on her high horse because she's like the queen bitch, you know? That's just the way she is.
True.
That doesn't necessarily mean that
I'll concede that one.
That doesn't necessarily mean that she dislikes you. Do I like the way that she talks down to them at times? No, especially the way that she talks to hate that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that she dislikes her. She just thinks she's better than her. She thinks that she's better than him.
Well, They won't have to put up with it anymore.
Right? So they don't have to deal with it at this point because she's going to be gone for some indeterminate length of time. I'm just glad that at the end of the day that Killian and Emma are happy. They get to go home. They get to have their life. Because it would seriously have sucked if Henry, whatever Henry got himself into, was forced to pull them apart. And even Colin, in the interviews he did, said it. He said one of the primary reasons that Adam and Eddie managed to convince him to stay, which tells me that he was probably considering leaving the show too, since in his mind, Emma, their story was over. Their story was done. They have their happy ending. There wasn't too much farther that they could go with it. Them telling him that he could take the character in a new direction and play this new version of the character, this Wish Realm version, would give him more of an opportunity to play the character in a different way, be different than what he was before. And this is what I was saying to Pip. I'm excited to see him being able to play. I mean, not to disparage Captain Swan, OTP, seriously, but I've always felt like he kind of gets absorbed into Emma. People have a hard time seeing him outside of the husband or boyfriend role. But he as a character, Killian Jones, is important, and his character needs to be developed outside of his relationship with Emma Swan. And this gives Colin that opportunity. I think if Adam and Eddie had told him that he was going to be playing regular Hook, who had been separated from Emma because of the curse, he might not have gone for it, because he would have seen that as being really fucked up, especially after everything that they've been through and all these battles that they fought to be together, to just be separated again. I don't think he would have stayed for that.
Agree. And I think, first of all, that Colin's known about this for a long time. Announced that they were doing another season. Because back in March, when he did the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, he knew something. Some big thing about that was coming for season 7 if it got picked up. And I think he's known about this for a while. So, for a while, I think he knew where it was going. I think it also goes to that they knew Jennifer Morrison wasn't coming back for a while, and they were just waiting to announce it. And the point of being able to develop Killian as a separate character from Emma, I absolutely 100% agree. And I think that's where a lot of the problems are coming from in regards to the reaction to last night's episode, because a lot of people do not see him as a separate entity from Emma. Someone like me, where I've been watching, I was always invested in Killian first and his story above all else.
Absolutely.
And now that he can continue that story separate from Emma, I have no problem with it. And all the people that do have a problem with it saw him as an extension of Emma Swan. The tension is coming out in regards to this episode.
Yeah, he's more than just a love interest. He's a character too.
I know. It just feels weird, spending these past few months trying to justify why he would be separated, or why this could actually still end up good for him and for Captain Swan. And now we don't even have to worry about that, because it's not even really the one we've been watching all these years. It's a different version.
Well, it is, but it isn't.
I think it's okay. I'm not going to generalize and assume that everybody was upset because they can't see him outside of the OTP. I certainly know that that's a reason for some. I think the other reasons were a lot of people's favorite character is Emma, and they were afraid that Emma was going to be destroyed or killed or put into a city curse or God only knows what. And their first and foremost, their priority is her happiness, and they didn't want to see her happiness destroyed. And because Killian is a part of that happiness, they wanted to make sure that remained intact. I can understand that. Even though Killian is my favorite character, Captain Swan is, be all end all my OTP. And I would have raised fucking hell if they were separated again, only because almost a trope at this point with them since he's been on this show. It's back and forth. They're together and then they're separated. Something happens, somebody's memory's lost, they go to a different realm. I mean, it's over and over the same thing. They have fought too fucking hard, especially after just getting married. And it gets to a point where you do the same plot line over and over, and then nobody gives a fuck anymore. So I could see why they would get upset to see the characters, after having fought for their happy beginning for so long, to get screwed over. So I'm glad that that's not happening, that their happiness is intact. What upset me more than anything was that I understood people not wanting to believe what Adam and Eddie said, because let's be real, they've been trolls in the past. Some things that they've said have not always been true. I get that. So I understand the hesitancy to believe them. I was thoroughly peeved at people for not believing Colin and acting like he was liar, liar, pants on fire. Like he was making shit up and, just saying whatever people wanted to hear. That's not Colin. I've met this man in person, and I'm not saying that I know him like deep down, but I know how he feels about his fans, and I know he would not lie to them. This man is honest to a fault. If he is going to tell you something about the character or about the direction of the show, you can bet on it that it's the truth. Colin's not the type of person to be shady or to be a troll or to deliberately lie. Yes, he doesn't want people to be spoiled, because, if information is spoiled, then the whole fantasy aspect of the show goes out the door because you already know everything. I understand that. But he's not going to deliberately lie. And after all these years of Colin being on the show, you would think the people who claim to be his fans and adore him would have more trust. Trust him.
I believed him.
Me too. I believe him.
Us, yes, but majority people did not trust him or anything that was coming out of his mouth. It seemed like no matter what he said to comfort them, they didn't believe him. It was driving me nuts because, I understand that they're upset. They were afraid that their OTP was going to get screwed over. But after 6 years, I know that Adam and Eddie have fucked up a lot of shit. But after 6 years of developing Emma and her character and her storyline and her happiness, do you honestly think that they would have just thrown that all away for a plot point?
Even they cannot be that stupid, which is why I never believed it was going to go down that way. I mean, Emma wasn't going to die, and they would have found a way to be together. And it turns out that they still are together.
Yeah.
And but I gotta say, this new Hook, his social skills really suck.
Well, we only know him so far as in the flashbacks,
personality and at that point, personality in the flashbacks. Yeah,
and at that point in the flashbacks, he was not entirely redeemed yet. He's not entirely developed. He's still primordial. He's working on it.
That was in comparison as Killian when he was in episode 12. Yeah, the middle part of season 2. That's the equivalent of what we just saw last night with.
Right, the version of Killian that we saw in those flashbacks is kind of like the Killian we saw in Tallahassee. He still has his own agenda, but at the same time, he's kind of, things are starting to change for him because now that he's met Emma, things have changed.
The moment in the episode when she says, "Look at me," and that was the parallel to the season 2 finale when she said, "You can be a part of something," and that's when it changed.
Right, but even though he became a part of something bigger, it wasn't overnight. It took time for him to, and even now, he's married or having a kid. There are still parts of him that's not entirely at peace. There are parts of him that he's still dealing with guilt over the things that he's done. So they can't expect him to be like this perfect paragon of virtue yet. It's going to take him longer, especially since he's had more lifetime than our Killian, because he's really like 60 something years old compared to ours. Well,
he has, think about this, he has almost another century on our Killian. That's crazy.
yeah, so it's going to take him time to, you know, to develop that the hero-ness aspect that Killian has now. And that's part of what Henry's there for, to help. They can help each other on that path. And Rogers, where he's at right now as Rogers, that's hero Killian. Of course, we don't know how much that they've developed in over this 10 years now that Lucy's 10. We don't know how much he's developed because we have yet to see him non-cursed in the real world. The curse isn't broken yet, so we don't know that personality. All we know is that he's a decent guy. He wants to be a good cop, and because he could not find it within himself to plant Lady Tremaine's bracelet on Henry and accuse him of a crime that he didn't do. Instead, he took Henry's keychain with the swan pendant on it and he put it in his pocket. And at first I thought that Rumple was going to like bulldoze him for screwing shit up, but then he said, you know, what I wanted to see was if you had a moral compass, and you do. So now I'm starting to think, as much as Rumple is an asshole, I don't think he's really working for Victoria Belfry. I think he's pretending to work for her, and he might actually be trying to take her down.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's what I was saying.
Here's the but. Rumple being Rumple, is he trying to take her down because she's evil, or is he trying to take her down because he wants to be on top?
But my idea that it's actually Rumple and he's playing some con and he's trying to pull out the stuff inside. I was wrong. I thought he was trying to pull out the pirate trying to pull out the goodness. For whatever reason, he needs Killian's moral core in the equation. And
well, last night definitely answered for me the question of whether or not Rumple was awake, because he elbowed Henry in the gut, and if he was awake, I don't care how much of an asshole that Rumple is, I don't think he would do anything to hurt his grandson. So I don't think he's awake.
We don't know how they're developed in the past 10 years.
What I want to know is
about Henry.
I would really like to know how it got this far, because we're talking about the fucking Dark One here. Victoria Belfry doesn't even have magic. The only thing she has that is magic is that fucking wand. And no fucking fairy wand in the world has ever stopped the Dark One.
Hell no.
Especially the Dark One who has the power of every Dark One that ever lived. She is like a tick on his map. She's nothing. She has no magic. There's no way that he allowed her to curse him, or that she got one up on him.
Exactly. Maybe she didn't. Maybe he did it willingly. Planned. Because one of the things when he was talking to her last night, I was rewatching this scene earlier today. When he was talking to Victoria at the end of the episode, he says, he's like, you certainly don't control me. And I was like, because she doesn't have the dagger, that nobody can control him.
We don't know where it is. We don't know if it's with Belle and Storybrooke or if it's with him here. We have no idea.
Yeah. Exactly. So when he said, you certainly don't control me, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Control him. It's not possible.
But when I think about it, with the evil queen in this new realm taking on Lady Tremaine, at some point she has to discover the history of this woman and what she did and the curse that she cast. So maybe Regina being involved wasn't such a good idea, because she's learning things about Storybrooke, and maybe that's how Hyperion Heights came to be.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And here's a piece of advice I feel like I need to give the writers of Once Upon a Time, because apparently they haven't learned their lesson from season 5. You remember in season 5 when they threw Dorothy and Ruby together and gave them a true love's kiss after only having known each other for like 5 fucking seconds? and how it was perceived as being completely unbelievable. I'm seeing the same issue going on right now with Jacinda and Henry. I think they're cute and they're likable, but everybody and their fucking mother going, "Are you in love with her? Are you in love with her? Are you in love with her?" Please stop. They don't even know each other. First of all, in Hyperion Heights, Henry's cursed. He doesn't know her. She doesn't know him. I will admit, he obviously has a crush on her. He thinks she's pretty. He's trying to do nice things for her. Maybe he does kind of like her. But if you're already trying to throw, "Oh, are you in love?" after them knowing each other for like 5 seconds, you're already screwed your own true love story. And then back in in Enchanted Forest, when he wouldn't tell he wouldn't tell Lady Tremaine where Cinderella was, even though he didn't know where she was. She's like, "Are you in love with her? Are you fucking kidding? He's only known her for like 5 minutes, and like 4 of those she punched him in the face."
Yeah.
Okay, I know that the whole face punching thing is like a Snow White special, but you know, show not tell. You know what I mean? Show not tell.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I feel like they're kind of a little forced to me. But it was like I was
little.
Like I was
everyone already assuming that they're in love and they've only known each other for 5 seconds. This is not Ruby and Dorothy. If this is supposed to be this huge epic love story, let me see it. Show it. Googly eyes is not enough to convince me. I need to see more shit.
This is the stuff I'm not really invested in watching the episode, so I don't really care either way. I do agree that it's a bit, they're forcing it. And like I was talking about before, how have the same sort of, emotional impact as say like Captain Swan did, because it's kind of like in the same vein as Snowing. We know it's going to happen anyway, so it doesn't really have that sort of,
true,
investing in it in the same way, because you don't the payoff isn't the same. Whereas it was with Captain Swan, we were just like, well, this is obviously leading to an endgame, but we don't know for sure, because we don't have that sort of, bookend sort of their true love like Snowing did. So it was like, there's nothing to lose by investing in the ship. It's there for you it's straightforward and, very vanilla on the screen if you want to.
I almost wish that in the lead up advertising over the summer, when they were talking about this epic true love story for him, that they hadn't said anything at all. I mean, we already knew with Henry having a daughter that there was a mother there involved, obviously. I would rather have him spend the season trying to find her and making friends with Jacinda and making friends with Sabine, but not knowing, like, they're not being explicit in the flashbacks that she's the one, because they pretty much were explicit saying, "Yeah, this is my mom, this is your wife." I would rather them just kind of show it and then give us that chance to get invested in the characters, and then so that we will be hoping, like, yes, we want her to be the one. We want her to be the one. Now we don't even have that, because we already know. But there's no investment, because we already know. It's like, okay, they're cute and everything, but okay, whatever.
Very completely.
Well, I do actually kind of like the friendship between Sabine and Jacinda. I mean, someone like that who has so many problems in her life, she needs a bestie. So I do like that dynamic.
Me too.
I like me some Makia Cox. I like that. I like her. I like
me
her
too.
character. I want to see more Tiana. Give me all the Tiana right now.
I know this show can get a little cheesy with its like puns, with its characters, but Tiana's puns have been absolutely perfect. The gotta hop and the frog legs and that whole sort of thing. I was like, nicely done, guys. I see what you're doing. You're not subtle about it, but it's also very entertaining for me, because she kind of just slips it in there in like the last moment. You're like, joke.
It's amazing.
And apparently,
she's amazing playing the character, because his character is like the first Disney fairy tale African American princess. It's like, and she's playing it exact. And also, I like the whole jokes about the frogs and things, even though I don't get it. But I'm very glad to see the dynamic between Jacinda and Sabine, because it's like Ruby and Snow when they were cursed and after they were cursed. And I'm very excited to see how this friendship goes on because I'm like shipping it so much right now. They're my Captain Charming of this season for me.
Mm. Apparently, whoever is doing the costuming took a cue from Eduardo Castro. I know in the past a lot of people believe that Eduardo Castro deliberately was cutting Josh Dallas's pants and shirts a size two, or like a half size or a size smaller than what he normally wears, just to have his pants fit him tight so his ass would show real good. His biceps would show real good in his shirts. Apparently, they must be doing the same thing for Andrew J. West, because I swear to God, I thought that dude was going to pop out of that shirt. Yo! Yo! That looked like he was going to motherfucking pop out of it. I was like, damn, son. Damn!
Can we give props to Andrew yet again? He's so good as adult Henry.
Absolutely.
And Jennifer Force and Hyperion Heights. He is perfect. Absolutely perfect casting. They did such a great job there.
All the props. I don't know how much work he did to research the way that Jared plays Henry and his relationships with Emma and Hook and Gina, but all that work definitely paid off because you can see Jared in him when he talks. You can see it when he smiles and when he interacts with his family members. It's all there.
That Captain Cobra hug was...
I know.
I had a lot of feelings about it. Like, they were just so excited to see each other. And I was just like...
Yeah.
He cares very much for Killian. And I was just very glad
when he has that attitude, that sass, when he stood up to Lady Tremaine in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, that is all Emma right there. That is all Emma.
Yeah.
He
has that shit down pat.
Yep. And I think the reason why I'm absolutely all for this coming season is the fact, and I'm not going to be able to say it's not getting emotional. I haven't been able to talk about it without getting emotional. To see a character, see Killian, a father, and his motivation is finding his daughter. Very difficult relationship with her own father and abandonment. Seeing my favorite character, even if he's not exactly the same version I've been with for 5 seasons. Seeing my favorite character in some way, that's his motivation. It means a lot to me, personal level, and I'm very excited to. And I'm very thankful that that's the direction they're going with the character.
It's emotional for me too, because I know how difficult it was for Killian and all the guilt he felt when he's always believed that he never did right by Bay, by abandoning him to the Lost Boys and not trying harder to keep him there. He always felt like he was so selfish that he kind of screwed up this poor kid's life so badly, not only by leaving him to the Lost Boys, but by coming between his parent. Well, their relationship was doomed anyway, but he didn't make it any better. And I know that some part of him always wanted to do right by Henry because he couldn't do right by Neil. And I feel like with the relationship that they have now and how close they are as stepfather and stepson, that he's finally managed to overcome that guilt. He's finally managed to be the father figure that he always wanted to be.
Just in time to be an actual daddy.
Yeah, just in time to be an actual dad.
No.
It's so emotional. I swear, in that last scene when she opened that portal, you could tell it was so hard for her. He physically had to go and get her to pull her towards the portal because she didn't want to leave him. And I'm like, this is gonna be the last time I see my Captain Swan. Oh my God, I'm It was so
Yeah, I had that moment where I could feel my heart just like break this little when it hit me that Captain Swan, as in the ship for like as this was it for them. Like, and there was no like Killian. My whole theory was a future Killian, so that was obviously dead in the water right there. And I was just like, there goes the original Killian. And it's just it's at the same time it's bittersweet. And I'm
I kind of felt like
happy with it. So happy with it.
I kind of felt like in that last scene when the portal opened and they stood there and he put his hand on her stomach and she looks up at him and he looks up at her and then she looks over, her looking at Regina and looking at Henry to say goodbye, but they're looking straight at the camera. So it almost felt like they were looking at the audience and saying,
yeah.
and saying, it's okay. You can let go now. We're happy. Goodbye. It's like they were saying,
oh, I'm going to start crying.
It's like they were saying it to us, because the whole time that since this started, we've been so worried that they weren't going to be able to maintain that happiness that they worked so hard for. And now it was like they were saying it to us. We're okay now. You can let go. Goodbye. I was like, oh, oh God.
Kudos to Adam and Eddie and the entire making Captain Swan for giving them that in there, that where if Captain Swan fans want to stop watching now, they absolutely can. They just gave them, they're like, go make your fan works, go do all that if you want to. You have this open-ended happy ending here where they're going to have a baby. Go have fun with it. And if that's where you want to end, perfect exit right there.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking on Tumblr last night for all the people that enjoyed it. There was just as many people that didn't. So no matter what you thought of it, if you're done, if that's the end for you, more power. Go ahead. If you want to keep to your fan fiction and whatever, that's fine. But also at the same time, for the people that enjoyed it and want to keep going, try not to disparage the way that they feel. Everyone's entitled to their own viewpoint. If they want to stay with it, stay with it. If they don't want to stay with it, don't.
I have so many.
Go ahead.
I just have so many feelings about this. There's a feeling of relief as well as sadness, but I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily done with the show. But I do feel like a weight has been lifted. Like there's no real anxiety. I can maybe move forward and just binge watch a few of these episodes and later on and just watch it as its own thing now with these new characters. And it's just like he said in their duet in the song, with you I have everything, and now he does. Family, love, a home. That this is Killian's happy ending with the woman he loves.
Daniela, what were your thoughts at that last scene?
I cried. I was emotional, but I was like I was in peace that they're finally together and not separated by realms from any kind of cultural any bullshit, and they're gonna have a baby and they're gonna have a happy ending, and I'm like, that's all I wanted. But I'm gonna miss them so much.
Well, I'm still holding out hope that if this is going to be, the ratings, from what I understand, were steady, still at 0.7. So now that Captain Swan has had its swan song, I don't know. It could be possible that people are only watching long enough to see this, and then maybe after it will drop off for all the Captain Swan fans that don't want to keep going. I sincerely feel this is going to be it for the show. This is going to be the last. So I'm still holding out hope that they might be able to get Jen to come back in the last episode just for one last, so that when Henry gets his happy ending, gets his wife and his daughter back, and then maybe they can go to Storybrooke and visit you know, so we can see what's going on and at least see if that kid's a girl or a boy. It would be nice.
Or twins.
Or who knows how many kids they could have. Like I said, they left it open-ended for us to be like,
That's true. It's
maybe.
been 10 years, so they might have more than one. I'm going to cross my fingers and live in hope that they might be able to get her for one last.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny though that in that scene where she said goodbye to him, that you do realize that Lana was not there, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
That was totally like spliced in.
Yeah.
So no hug goodbye for Regina.
Now I don't know if that was I don't know if that's just because, you know, with Jen's schedule she had to leave and they couldn't get them to film on the same day, or if there's a whole situation going on now where they just hate each other so much that they don't even want to film the same scenes. I don't think it's that.
No,
I don't think
no.
it's that.
Yep. Because
I've never tried to assume things between the cast or anything like that. It's just not, you know, it doesn't help the situation.
But I know there's a lot of people online thought that it was like that. What is that one show with the two actresses? Was it
Sex in the City?
No, The Good Wife or something like that. With Juliana Margulies and Archie.
Yeah.
Punjabi apparently hated each other so much that in the scene where she comes back that they weren't even filming, that it was like spliced together. It was two separate scenes.
City too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Jen
and they didn't
No.
Game of Thrones because Jeremy Flynn and Lena Headey were like ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend. They couldn't stand each other in the one scene of any episode of Game of Thrones since Bronn appeared, and that's where I think I'm kind of relating what you guys are talking about. I just don't think that's it, because this cast has been like together since day one, and I don't see them like. I don't like it because we can't assume, like, bro, we can't assume what's going on behind off screen because we just don't know.
Yep, that's
we just
not
assume
our
with
business.
theorize.
Not our business to assume what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The characters in a television show.
And I personally don't think it's anything like that, because I know Jen is a very professional person, and just, you know, regardless of what she might think of somebody in a personal way, that's not going to interfere with her ability to do her job.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think I'm pretty certain that it was probably like a scheduling thing, that she just could not be there at the same day.
There?
No, it's obvious that the scenes with Lana was not filmed at the same time that the scenes with Jen was filmed.
When Jen was there filming, wasn't Lana still on like vacation for her birthday?
She might have been, yes, because it was fairly obvious.
That's why Lana wasn't there.
In the goodbye scene, that they were two separate scenes spliced.
I think that's what. I think that might be the reason. I think it's because Lana was on vacation. I think that might be the only reason why they're not.
And I know some people think that. I know some people think that because at the cons they appear on separate days, that it's because they don't like each other, and it has nothing to do with that. I know these two can be professionals. It has nothing to do with the two of them not wanting to be at the cons on the same day. It's more to do with fan logistics, because there have been too many instances at cons where if they're there on the same day, certain members of fandom lose their shit. And if all three of them were there on the same day, it would not end well. So they tend to keep Lana on her own day, and then they have Jen and Colin on a separate day, just to avoid problems.
Yes,
it has nothing.
You can't have Spawn Queeners and Irregals and Captain Swallows in one room, because a war, shit will go loose.
It has nothing to do with the actors not being able to, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a fandom logistics thing.
I mean, especially after Fairy Tales, what was it, 3, where that whole meltdown about the photo ops. I think after that's when they decided to separate them, just to keep problems to a minimum.
I agree.
It looks like in the promo for episode 3, Garden of Forking Paths, we're going to be, according to the end of this episode, We still don't know what Rumpel's up to. We don't know if Rumpel's trying to take Victoria Belfry down because he thinks she's evil, or if he's doing it because he wants to be on top. We're not sure. Rumpel's kind of always doing his own thing.
Because he
Needs
did
to
the
be
dad
seen.
one, did it?
We know that Henry and we'll call him Rogers for right now. Not because I can't say that he's Killian. I know that he is, but to differentiate, so to not confuse people.
Yeah, for logistically, it makes sense. That's how I've been referring to him, as just Rogers. He's just Rogers from here on out.
It looks like Ronnie, Rogers, and Henry are working together to amass information against Victoria Belfry to bring her down. Henry because he wants to help Jacinda to get her daughter back. Rogers because he wants to find he doesn't know that his child, but he wants to find this girl that he believes is lost, this case that he's never been able to solve. And Ronnie just, because she thinks Victoria's a bitch and wants to take her down a notch. And she doesn't
really do love Ronnie. I love Ronnie. I had my problems with Regina, but Ronnie is...
This is almost what I wish that Regina could have been if she wasn't such a bitch. Honestly.
I agree. And I got really excited to see the trio, the and Henry trio at both in the Enchanted Forest and the Parallel and Hyperion Heights. That excited me. I'm like, I'm here for this. I'm here for whatever shenanigans these three get into.
So episode 3, apparently things are going to be heating up on this, whatever this mission is that they're trying to do. And in the Enchanted Forest flashbacks, I think they're going to find out a little bit more. There's going to be a meeting between Tiana and Cinderella. And I think Henry is going to continue to try to... I think this... You remember those pictures where all of them were together? It was Regina and Hook. Regina, Hook, and Henry with Tiana and her. So I think this is when they all meet. I think he's finally going to find her, and then they'll figure out how they're going to save her from Lady Tremaine's clutches.
Yeah.
Whereas in Hyperion Heights, they're still trying to amass information to bring her down, I guess.
Yeah.
What I'm curious is what's down that big hole there that Lucy and Henry were going to investigate.
Oh, yeah. When Lucy went down that... As soon as I saw that, I kind of went, really? Really? Really?
Mines.
That's like episode 5 all over again. Really, people? You couldn't come up with anything, not done?
I want you to think.
Already?
Maybe that's what they want you to think.
Yeah, and I know that Emma isn't part of the show anymore, but I think it's great that they found a way for her to touch Rogers in a way that he is much more changed. He even remembers her saving him, in a different version of his own memory. And, he's going to be better because of this woman who has touched the lives of so many people. She's the savior. She brings back the happy endings. And that's what she was able to do for him. And it was actually Killian who was just about ready to kill the guy who convinced her to save him because, he could relate to him, who was just about a father himself. And it's good to know that despite what his agenda was, that when he realized that Killian was about to become a father, he realized he couldn't do that to him. So it's good that he has a conscience. And we'll see how that develops in these flashbacks and in Hyperion Heights.
I love that they made it absolutely clear that even though this version of Killian didn't fall in love with Emma, she is still his savior. That's why he changed.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Drusilla
Colin actually sings those lyrics in one of the songs of the enemies. In the chorus. Might have known to be my savior.
Now, we don't know who the daughter is. I know some people have speculated it might be Alice. I don't think it's her. Others have speculated that it might be Rapunzel. That one seems more plausible. I know they cast the character of a witch. We don't know who she is, but since he mentioned now that a witch had imprisoned his daughter, that's highly likely that's probably her. According to Adam, I don't know, but according to Adam and Eddie, later, and also according to Colin, later on in the season, we're supposed to meet not only the daughter but also the mother.
Oh dear.
That I don't know what to think about. That's going to take me a little time to wrap my head around. I'm almost hoping that it's a flashback and that the mother's dead. Not. It's only because it's very hard for me to see him with someone that is not Emma. Even though I know in my heart that this is not my Killian, this is a different version. It's still kind of hinky to me to see him with someone who isn't Emma.
Me too.
I think it might be a flashback, much in the same way that all of the were obviously flashbacks. Anytime you saw them together, it was just flashback. It wasn't present day. And even when they brought Mila back in season 5, she never got another scene with Killian in the present day at the time. So I think it might be along a similar vein where we'll see the mother in flashbacks, but Killian's story isn't about the mother, it's about
her daughter.
Well, I guess there is one thing that we can rule out now. I know we were all very much hoping to get some further exploration into Killian's backstory and finally meet his mother, but now that this isn't even the fucking Killian, well, actually, no, because it's the same person.
Killian. It's the same Killian. This is why I said his mother hasn't been ruled out here.
So we could, in fact, see his mother because it is the same person.
Yep.
But would it be Wish Realm Mother?
Well, he's already said that everything that happened in their lives is the same. It happened on the same line up until the point that Killian met Emma Swan.
He said, Rogers said that his life diverged from because in the Wish realm, the curse had never been cast. This also leaves it open to interpretation about things like whether or not he killed his father, how he got back to the Enchanted Forest, why he never if he went to Belle's to Regina's tower to get Belle at all. We don't know. Yeah,
because we don't know if all that happened and then they defeated her, or if they defeated her before all that happened. So we don't. That's murky as to where exactly it diverged. We just know that
it could even be to the point that he got all the way up to meeting Cora before they stopped Regina.
It's possible. Yeah,
we don't know any of this.
That is possible. Yes, because the curse wasn't cast until
after he met Cora.
Until after he met Cora. So, because Cora was the one that saved him by putting him into that little bubble that kept him from aging for another 30 years. It froze them. So, that right there is murky. We just know that that's where their paths forked, as the title goes. Yep. That's where their paths forked.
So when people say this is a different Killian, to a degree it is a different Killian, but everything that made him Killian Jones up until the point that he met Emma, same. So that good man that was in there from when he was lieutenant is still in there. She just brought him out again.
Same father, same mother, same brother, same everything. Yeah.
So there's also a potential for another Liam, too, to be out there somewhere.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, but it's entirely...
Of course, we know that Rogers gets a different ending from Killian now.
His happy ending is obviously his daughter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where difference is going to be in like how their ending comes along, but we get to see his journey, his redemption journey into where he gets to that happy ending. He's earned that happy ending with his daughter.
And now the scenes that Colin filmed with Makia Cox make a little more sense, because everyone at first was like, "Oh my God, are they in a relationship?" No, obviously, if Makia Cox's character Sabine is best friends with Jacinda, she's obviously going to go along with whatever scheme that they have cooked up to take Victoria down.
Is that the other theory other than love interest is that she was a mole for him or whatever that he needed, to get information from. I think that's what we're seeing here.
Possibly. So next week's podcast will involve not only episode 3, but whatever snippets we glean, because Creation Con in Whippany, New Jersey is the 20th to the 22nd next weekend.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So We will keep you all live up to date with whatever information we glean from Colin, which will probably be next to shit, because knowing him, he's probably not going to say nothing.
Yeah.
He managed to keep his trap shut for the entire summer, so I doubtless he won't say anything at this con.
Mm-mm.
But we will keep you all up to date with whatever happens there, as well as
Yeah.
whatever other spoilers that we learn.
Yeah.
I know that that Lana and Adam Eddie were at New York Comic Con. I don't usually follow New York Comic Con unless Jen was there, because usually it's Jen that's there with them. But since she's not a part of the show no more, I didn't really care, so I didn't bother. I'm assuming that she didn't tell him any more than she was able to, any more than we already know, right?
Thank God.
I just got to say that I just have so much respect for Colin, and if he's happy to continue as this new Killian, this new Hook Rogers, then I'm gonna support him, obviously, and I'll do my best to watch the episodes. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna make it a weekly thing just yet, but so far I'm intrigued, and I hope it goes well for him.
Yeah.
I agree. If nothing else, I hope it does well enough that we get to see the completion of this story for this character, because I think Colin deserves that work, and he's putting his love in it. He obviously is excited about this, so I want to see it play out for him, because I think he's earned that.
Totes, because I really want to see that. I want to see how I love Adelaide Kaisen's reign, and I want to see how evil she can play Drusilla and Ivy. Because what I've heard of the last interview about her character, that you don't that she shouldn't, her character is not to be underestimated. Like, I want to see that, because I always see she was always playing a good person back in Rain. I want to see her play something evil and twisted. That she's not gonna let her mother push her around much and often, and I want to see that. And I'm very excited to see the new characters, Makia, Dania, Allison, and Gabrielle play the new versions of these characters. And I want to see, and I'm very excited to see what is this new season about, because I'm very intrigued. I'm gonna see it for Colin. I'm gonna see it for Lana. I'm gonna see it for my all Wanter fandom, because I've been in the show and from since the beginning, because I love fairy tale characters and stuff, and I'm very excited to see how this season goes.
Lisa?
Please.
Okay. Well, does anybody else have any final thoughts before we call it a day?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, that brings our podcast to a close. We'll see you guys all next Saturday for episode 3, Garden of Forking Paths. Everybody have a great week and keep on.
Oh, by the way, Captain Swan, Endgame.
Captain Swan Endgame, happy ending is intact. We will miss you. Jen, we love you. We miss you. We wish you all the best in your future. We hope to see you back at least once more, but if not, we love you. We will think of you always. Captain Swan, we love you. We will think of you always. You will be in our hearts forever.
Yeah, forever.
Yes.
Bye, guys. See you next
Bye,
week.
mates.
Bye.
Bye.